Welcome to our review on alkanes and alkenes. First thing we need to understand then is the definition for the word hydrocarbon. Now they like to ask you this for a 2-mark question. You'll get your first mark if you say that it's a substance made of hydrogen and carbon, and the second mark for adding the word only. So make sure you do know that definition of hydrocarbon is something made of hydrogen and carbon only. The first type of hydrocarbon we're going to look at are the alkanes. Now what we've got in that first table then are 4 alkanes. We know they're alkanes because if you look at the names they all end in ANE. So no matter what alkane we're looking at, they will all have that ending ANE to their name. Now the first part of the name just tells us how many carbon atoms there are. So meth is 1, eth is 2, prop is 3 and bute is 4. So we can see we've got the formulas on the right hand side there, and the general formula for an alkane is CnH2n plus 2. So if you replace n with any number, so if we were to say 4 for example, then C4, H, and then it's going to be 2 times 4 plus 2. So 2 times 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10. So that formula would be C4H10, as you can see for butane in our table. So make sure you learn that general formula, and then obviously whatever number of carbon atoms they give you, you can just substitute in that number wherever it says N. What we can see at the bottom then are some displayed formulas for the alkanes. So you've got methane, ethane and propane. Now what you'll notice is that from each carbon atom we've got 4 bonds, and going to each hydrogen atom only 1. So when you're asked to draw one of these displayed formulas, start off by putting your carbons in a row along the middle. Make sure that they've each got 1 single bond going between them, and then from each carbon atom make sure that there's a total of 4 lines coming off it. Some of them are going to join carbon to carbon, and on the ends of any that don't have anything, then put a hydrogen, because our alkanes are very identifiable by the fact that they only have single covalent bonds. The second type of hydrocarbon we're going to look at are the alkenes. Now all of the alkenes have a name that ends in ENE, and again the first part tells us how many carbon atoms there are. So ethene has 2 carbon atoms and it's an alkene. The general formula for our alkenes is CnH2n. So just substitute in the number where the N is. So if we had a 3 carbon alkene, then it would be C3H, 2 times 3, so 6. So C3H6. The key thing about our alkenes then is that they've got a double covalent bond. So if ever you're asked what alkenes have in comparison to alkanes, then your alkenes have a double covalent bond, whereas alkanes only have single covalent bonds. And you can see in the displayed formulas beneath that that double bond has to go between the carbon atoms. Again, the same rules apply, so we can only have 4 bonds going between a carbon atom and 1 bond to any hydrogen atom. The last thing we need to know then is how we can actually test to see if we have an alkane or an alkene. Now the way we do this is by using bromine water, because what we find is that the bromine water is going to react with alkenes but not with alkanes. So if we see the colour change from orange to colourless, then we know we have an alkene present. If the bromine water stays orange, then we have an alkane.